Good morning, one and all. I am Dr. Ramya Swetha, Assistant Professor, Department of Civil Engineering from Institute of Aeronautical Engineering. Today, our topic is rock bolting. Rock bolting is one of the technique which we are going to use for the soil, enhance for the soil properties or desired properties for construction project or construction works or projects, whatever we are going to construct in that particular conditions. So in this, it is a technique which we are going to use stabilize rock masses by installing the bolts into the rock to hold it together. So by installing the bolts into the rock and also to hold it together, it is commonly used in underground mining, tunneling and slope stabilization. So in this underground mining, tunneling and slope stabilization. In this, the purpose of rock bolting improve rock mass stability and also it prevents the rock falls and collapses. In some of the regions, because of the heavy construction works in urban areas and also in some of the regions, the construction work is more and more. In that purpose, whenever we are cut as per our requirement of the construction work, that may affect the rock, it may fall. Not only this is the reason, few more reasons are also there for rock fails, but it may in different of ways are there for getting those kind of situations we are facing. But whenever we are facing such type rock fails and collapse, they are going to collapse. To prevent that rock fails and collapse, in construction point of view, now we are understanding. For understanding this ground improvement techniques in civil engineering point of view, that's why we are considering in like this way. So in that, the rock fails whenever it is there and going to collapse, in that particular situation we are going to prevent for such type of situations we are choose this rock bolting situation. In reinforce and strengthen rock formation, for reinforcement and strengthen also required for any kind of construction work, heavy structures. So such type we are going to choose this rock bolting. So in application point of view, tunneling and underground excavation. In tunneling and underground excavation, these are very important. In this slope stabilization and also mining operations, construction of dams and other large infrastructure projects, we are choosing these kind of rock bolting. Whenever nearby rocks are there, in that particular construction work is going and those rocks are going to affect, in that particular situation we are going to adopt this rock bolting. So in these are the applications, these are the major purposes we are choosing this rock bolting technique. So in these different kinds of mechanical rock bolts are there, different types are available. Those are mechanical rock bolts. In this split set bolts. So in this split set bolts are also known as friction bolts. Friction bolts. They are made of steel tube with longitudinal slot along its entire length. They are used primarily for ground support in mining and tunneling. For mining and tunneling, we are going to choose these kind of friction bolts. Those are nothing but split set bolts. So in this installation, we are going to drilling, insertion, expansion. These are the steps we are following for the installation of these rock bolts. So those are a hole slightly similar than the bolt diameter is drilled into the rock, The split set bolt is driven into the hole. As the bolt is driven, it exerts radial pressure. The radial pressure along the hole's entire length. In this, the expansion, the longitudinal slot allows the bolt to compress slightly as it is inserted. So creating frictional resistance between the bolt and the rock which stabilize the rock mass. Such way, these kind of bolts are known as friction bolts. They are going to apply in mine roof and wall stabilization and also tunnel reinforcement and also in soil stabilization in civil engineering projects. In this immediate support upon installation, these are the advantages of these split set bolts. Those are immediate support upon installation, simple installation process who need for additional grouting or anchoring materials. In this also they are going to limited to specified rock conditions, for not for all kind of rocks, the specified rock conditions where friction alone can provide adequate support. So potential for corrosion if not adequately protected. This is the mechanical bolts. In that split set bolt, it is also known as friction bolt. And the other kind of mechanical bolt, that is Swellex bolts. In these bolts are made of folded steel tube that is expanded using high pressure water. These bolts provided immediate and full length ground support. In this also they are going to install drilling a hole slightly larger than the bolt diameter is drilled into the rock. The folded Swellex bolt is inserted into the hole. This high pressure water is injected into the bolt, causing it to unfold and press against the sides of the hole. This expansion creates a tight bond between the bolt and the rock. In these kind of bolts we are going to use at ground stabilization in underground mining and tunneling, and also temporary support in excavation and civil engineering projects. In this quick and simple installation procedure is there. This is the one of the advantages, and also immediate support with a strong bond to the rock. And also it has some limitations. In these kind of bolts requires specialized equipment for water injection and also potential for corrosion if not adequately protected. Ground rock bolts. So mechanical bolts, and next other type is grouted rock bolts. In grouted rock bolts, fully grouted bolts, cable bolts are the different types which are involved in grouted rock bolts. So fully grouted bolts involves inserting a steel rod into a drilled hole and filling the entire hole without grout. The grout bond is the rod to the rock, creating a strong and stable reinforcement. It is also going to the installation. Drilling. A hole is drilled to required depth and diameter as per the desired properties and as per the requirement. We are going to install the steel rod is placed into the drilled hole. Grout is pumped into the hole, filling the space around the rod and bonding into the surrounding rock. We are going to apply fully grouted bolts in permanent support for underground excavation, stabilization of the rock slopes, and also reinforcement of tunnel walls and ceilings. Providing a strong permanent bond between the bolt and rock, it is one of the advantages which we observe in fully grouted bolts. And also it can be used in various rock conditions, including fractured and unstable rocks. For fractured and unstable rocks are also we may use grouted, we may consider the fully grouted bolts in that scenario also. So in this also some of the limitations, those are, it requires time for the grout to cure and achieve full strength. Proper mixing and placement of grout are critical for effective performance. So proper mixing and placing of grout are crucial for effective performance. Cable bolts. In these cable bolts are long, flexible steel cables are inserted into boreholes and grouted in place. They are used to support deeper and larger rock formation. They are going to install boreholes are drilled to the required depth, often significantly longer than those for standard bolts. The steel cable is threaded to the borehole. This grout is injected into the borehole, filling the space around the cable and bonding it to the rock. Such type of installation is required for cable bolts. In this, we are going to apply these cable bolts at deep underground mining operations and also stabilizing large rock masses in civil engineering projects, providing additional support in areas with high stress or poor rock conditions. These kind of cable bolts are suitable for deep and extensive rock formation. That is the one of the advantage which we consider in our cable bolts, and also can accommodate ground movements due to the flexibility of the cable. In these, it is also some limitations. It requires careful grouting to ensure the entire length of the cable is bonded. Installation can be more complex and time consuming compared to the standard bolts. And the next type of rock bolt is friction rock bolts. So in these split sets, friction stabilizers are there. They are known as friction stabilizers, are steel tubes with a longitudinal slot against their length. They are driven into the undersized holes to create frictional resistance between the tube and the rock. In this also, the installation, a hole slightly smaller than the bolt diameter is drilled into the rock. Here we are, whenever that is required, we are slightly smaller than that bolt diameter. The insertion, the splits set is driven into the hole using a driving tool. The slotted design allows the bolt to compress and fit tightly within the hole, creating friction along its length. The application: roof and wall stabilization in mining and tunneling, temporary and permanent ground support in various underground excavation are the applications for these friction rock bolts or split bolts, and also known as friction stabilizer. And also, coming to the advantages of these kind of friction stabilizers: simple and quick installation, and also immediate support with frictional resistance along the entire length of the bolt. Here we observe some limitations also. Those are limited to the specific rock conditions where friction along is sufficient for support, potential for corrosion if not adequately protected. So overall, rock bolting is a versatile and essential technique in geotechnical engineering, providing support and stability in various rock conditions and their applications. Understanding the different types of rock bolts and their specific uses, advantages and limitations is crucial for selecting the appropriate solution for any kind of project. Proper design, installation and maintenance ensure the effectiveness and longevity of the rock bolting systems. In these rock bolting systems, rock mass properties, load requirements, bolt length and diameter, spacing and pattern are the design considerations. So in this, understanding the geological conditions, including the rock type, which type of rock it is, what are the fractures and joints, and what are the various determining the loads and the bolts must be support, including the static and dynamic forces. Choosing the appropriate bolt dimensions based on the rock mass and load requirements. So arranging the bolts in effective pattern to provide maximum stability. These are some of the design considerations for the rock bolting. In this also we are going to the installation techniques. It depends upon the which type of bolt it is. So the drilling is the common parameter for all kinds of installation techniques. Already we see in our previous slides. In inserting bolts, mechanical bolts, grouted bolts, frictional bolts have their own kind of inserting bolts. We observe that pattern in our previous slides. And one more important thing is tensioning. It is if applicable. Whenever we applicable this tensioning, we are applying as a installation technique in rock bolting. In this, some bolts are tensioned after installation to apply a preload, improving their effectiveness in the stabilization the rock. Such type technique we are using in rock bolting whenever it is required. So this monitoring and maintenance, regular inspections, load testing, replacing damaged bolts. These are the regular monitoring and maintenance is required for the rock bolts. That is checking for signs for bolt failure such as corrosion, losing or rock movement, and also the load testing. Periodically testing bolts to ensure they are carrying the expected load or not. This maintenance and monitoring is required for the rock bolting. And also replaced damaging bolts. Whenever we are observing at the time of monitoring, we are going to replace the damaged bolts, removing and replacing the bolts that have corroded or failed. So in tunnel support, underground transportation tunnel, installation of fully grouted bolts to stabilize the tunnel walls and ceiling is the technique we are choose for the underground transportation tunnel. So in this, enhanced tunnel stability, reduced rock walls and safer working conditions. And also one more example, slope stabilization, mountains condition and location is mountains highway cut slope. In that we are choose friction bolts to stabilize the slope and to prevent the rock slides. It improves the slope stability and reducing the maintenance cost. So it is also having versatile and immediate effectiveness. Cost effectiveness is there in the advantages of the rock bolting. Each and every type have their own advantages. We see already we observe in our previous slides. Coming to the limitations, it is going to installation challenges are there, corrosion and ground disturbances are the major limitations for the rock bolting. So requires specialized equipment and skilled labor for installation. This is one of the challenge. And also long-term durability can be affected by corrosion, requiring appropriate protection measures. And also drilling and installation can cause disturbances in certain conditions. Rock conditions, it depends upon the rock conditions. Some concerns and mitigation strategies also we are observed. Those are corrosion protection, quality control, environmental impact and ground conditions are there. So we are going to various different kinds of steels and the quality, assuring the proper installation through regular inspections and load testing and minimizing the disturbance to surrounding environment, and also follow the regulations, conducting through site investigation to understand the rock properties to before installation. These are the concerns we are going to consider for the rock bolting. So we may use advanced materials, innovative installation techniques, monitoring techniques also as per the future requirement. In this, it is a versatile technique which we use for the support and stability of the variety of structures and also proper design. So advanced materials and installation techniques monitoring, those are all enhancing the effectiveness and reliability of the rock bolts in geotechnical applications. So these are the some of the web references we are choose for the ground improvement techniques. Thank you. We will see in our next class.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.